Let's just say I had something I had to take care of. It was quite the headache. But anyway, so in this, I'm gonna be doing my like the first four signs, and they're reading for the entirety of May. I'm just gonna do four each, and then like whenever I have more energy, I'll do the next four, and so on and so forth. So, hey Ennis, while I'm thinking about it, Ennis, I'm gonna give you this while I'm thinking about it. Did you did you just get a notification of some kind? Okay, good. And how do you pronounce that? Bead Beadwixt? Is that how you pronounce that? I just want to make sure I got that right. So essentially, as like the disclaimer, essentially, be betwixt, betwixt. That's is that it? Betwixt. I'm somebody that wants to make sure things are spoken right, but okay, kinky. Well, not kinky, but still. So if you would, Ennis, like once this is over. Oh, okay. So, Annis, if you wouldn't mind, like as soon as I'm finished with this and once it uploads, would you mind like putting the timestamps like in the comments somewhere, and then I'll be and I think you should be able to pin it, hopefully. That way if somebody's watching this later, they won't have to be all like, oh my god, woman is fake, stop talking, come on, come on, come on. Gemini Sun, Taurus, Moon, and Cancer Ascendant? Thanks, Annis. Wow. You have an exalted moon. which is which is majestic. So as the disclaimer is going to be pretty much, it's really intended for the rising sign, but you know, if you happen to be like well, I mean, in this case, you lucked out because you'll be having your sun, moon, and rising looked at the same time, but primarily I prefer to have it be read for somebody's ascendant because that's like the 3D experience you're going through. But sometimes things just won't connect, so sometimes it's probably most beneficial to check alongside the moon too, because the sun is the soul. But either way, if somebody doesn't know their chart, it's okay. You can just stick with your sun sign. If you're if you're cock watching, that's not the time for this, kid. Don't cock watch. I mean, I'm not complaining, but not the time for that. But anyway, if you're cross watching, nothing wrong with it. I prefer you not to, but if it can't be helped, it is what it is. I'm guilty of it too, at least I'll admit it. So, just like last month, every sign is gonna get, except this time, one Dark Goddess, one Daemon, and each sign is gonna be getting a unique deck for them. Because since having more than about 30 plus decks, yeah, I kind of have a bit of a variety, and I kind of want to make use of them all and not have them all collect dust. So. Did maybe that's why I got a message in my head saying maybe you should start doing this now, kid. Maybe that might be why, but it is what it is. Okie doke. So Aries. The first blood. And yes, to be technical too, this is intended to be a general reading, so if something comes out that doesn't make sense to you, well, maybe you have to interpret it in a different way. But primarily, again, it's for the rising sign. And the spread I'm going to use is just I'm keeping it simple. Just a simple elemental cross and then one suggested course of action and to be aware of at the very bottom. Okay, let's start off with the Ram, the youthful Aries and the sign of, you know, initiative, impulsivity that has dominion over the brain and body. How the heck? Oh, okay. So Aries, your dark goddess for the month of May is High Nu Tepo for trust. That's quite the tongue twister. High Nu Tepo. I think she's Polynesian. I think. I could be wrong. If I'm remembering correctly, I think she's the one that's how she fled to the underworld, having discovered that the father of her children was her own father. So essentially, she ran away from her father because apparently he was also the father of her kids. That's awkward. And unable, and I think she was because she was also unable to live with that she could not like trust anybody because of that. I can't remember. I think it was something to that effect. So we have the big theme of trust and having confidence, which probably is not going to be that much of a challenge for an Aries because, well, have you ever seen an Aries, go towards something? Face first and ramming things out of the way, literally. So High Nu Te Po, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, with Leonard. Oh, Leonard. Oh, yeah. Okay. So, really what I'm really getting right now from this, any of you Aries that practice the occult or practice with the witchcraft or any kind of art of magic and practice, you need to have that confidence in it. Just because it's not the 3D and the mundane everyday thing, use that initiative and have the confidence in yourself in doing your practice. Don't be afraid of somebody else saying, "Wow, that's how you practice." Well, I mean, if I was you, I'd just tell them, "Yeah, this is my practice. You jealous?" I mean, I'd be jealous too if if I wasn't allowed to wear my birthday suit and dance around a big fire. I'd be jealous too if I couldn't do that. Go back to your church, nun. Where did that come from? But still, don't be afraid to really let yourself go in your practice. Have the trust in yourself and trust in whichever divinity or entity that you're enjoying your. I can't get over that. Go back to your church, nun. Do you mind? I'm dancing around my flaming, bonfire or fire. I think that's what it usually is, bonfire or something like that. I just know there's a lot of flaming going on. Going hand in hand and dancing around a fire. Let it loose, not let it hang out. So have the confidence in yourself, and if you're doing your practice, even if you get criticized for it, don't even doubt yourself and don't go at it in a way that's making you feel like, I don't know if I should be doing this. I don't have confidence in myself. No, no, no. And this can be, even if it's not in the mundane everyday. Hey, Carol. Just make sure that if something is trying to doubt yourself, don't let it. have full confidence in yourself, and if someone's trying to bring you down, more than likely they're indirectly saying that they wish they could do what you were doing. They just won't accept it. They won't express it in that way. Instead, they'll be like, "I don't know if you should do that." Oh, I see what you're trying to say, milkshake. Yeah, stay jealous. And Aries is deck for May is the Grin Lux. And it's just gonna be a simple cross. Simple cross. Nothing too fancy, unless if something hits me in the back of the head, then fine, we'll go with it. Well, at the core of it all is the Four of Swords. Pretty much I'm getting the whole core of the month of May is making sure most definitely that if you're having any doubts at all of doing something on the physical side, okay then, do it on the spiritual side. Do it on the other plane, because even though our supposed to be knight in shining armor to come and save the day, even though he's you know asleep, even though he's not at his post, at least he's in his post in the other side, at least in dreamland. So if you're trying to work something or pretty much make something happen in the real world and it's just not cutting it literally, because there's swords in it. If it's not making the cut, okay, then just go at it from a different angle. If you can't swing on the ground, a swing in the air. That's a weird way of putting it, but still. Primarily, this month, consider maybe doing a lot more meditative work and having trust in yourself. If you've never done any kind of work on the astral side or any kind of magical procedure at all, this is actually the best time to be like, okay, we're going to be stopping swinging on the ground. Now we're going to be go swinging on the astral side instead. So consider maybe swinging and doing your practice more in meditative works. And even if you're doing guided meditations, that's just as good. Just exercising that, how do you call that? You're exercising your visualization. And if you have a strong visualization, you'll actually be able to be more of a threat than being on the ground, if that makes sense. That sounds so weird. You're more of a threat, while just not on the physical. So definitely consider doing a lot of more spiritual work regarding the astral side, focusing during astral works. And since he's going, well, and since the camera's flipped, it's the other way, but essentially the knight is facing one way, and then, well, the physical knight is facing one way, and then the other knight's facing the other. So don't do something that's conflicting and going in opposing directions, because you'll have like the rubber band effect. One will go one way, and then the other's going to go the other. It's going to go, and we don't want that, because having someone go one way then the other, that can be a big confliction. So keep that in mind. Move as one, not move as 1.5. Well, health-wise, you definitely are going to be, no, why I grabbed that. Health-wise, well, you sure know how to handle that big stick of yours. Not complaining. You have fire, and now you have more fire. You have double flamer. No. So when it comes to your health and physical, mundane, everyday, you probably will be having a lot of zest and a lot of I'm gonna just put it the way that's gonna come out of my mouth. a lot of bang to your buck, if you know what I mean. You may actually be having a lot more bursts of energy, but then again, Aries naturally has that. And when it comes to maybe even like taking a leadership role or taking control, well, you most definitely speak little loud and carry a big stick. It wasn't to be speak soft and carry a big stick, but well, Aries is not a teddy bear like Theodore Roosevelt. Kids probably you're too young to even know who that is. Just make sure that whenever you're doing anything regarding and if it involves somebody else, just make sure you're not too. Make sure you don't have too much of a flamethrower coming out of your mouth in like terms of like redirecting somebody in a way, because the King of Wands, not only is he like the life of the party and like the most exciting out of everybody, he can also be the one that kind of torches somebody and kind of it gives them a heart attack in terms of like, oh crap, it's the king. Oh god, he's mad. Just make sure you keep your that's gonna sound so bad, but I don't care. Go with it. Just make sure you keep your flamboyancy in check. Don't flame too much. It's so ironic for me to say that coming from me. So make sure, well, if you are he who flames most, nothing wrong with it. If anybody tells you otherwise, just tell them, don't be hating because I'm flaming. You wish you could be flaming. I don't know why that came out the way it did. Interactions with other people or intelligence, learning a new subject, or the mind and intelligence. Oh wow, look at that. We have Romeo and Juliet, then we have two. What the heck are you two birds doing? It was nice and romantic, and then oh, you guys just had to ruin the mood. Birds, you okay? It looks like you got your necks tied up. It's just this depiction, I just love it, and I get confused. Like, oh, that's just so sweet. Wait, how come the birds are trying to ruin the moment? They're like, hey, pay attention to us, yo. If you don't pay attention to us, we're gonna die because our necks are stuck together. In other words, what I'm getting from this most definitely, and when it's becoming like since there's a crescent moon going that way, be aware during the moon phase, like when the moon is in the first quarter or third quarter, you actually may potentially come to a better understanding with somebody, or you actually might connect to somebody on an intelligent level. And definitely make sure you interact with each other on an equal playing field. Don't let somebody think that they're, higher up and all superior to you and look down at you. Because in this case, I'm getting this like, just because somebody may know a little bit more than you, well, here's the thing. The one that's the most, the one who has the most advantage is actually the woman, because since she's shorter, all she needs to do is just throw a flying knee to his crotch. So that's why you don't put down people who are shorter than you. And believe me, they can headbutt. They'll just headbutt face first right into that spot. So also be content in what you learn for this month. And also consider sharing it and just making sure you don't be all like, oh, I know this now. I'm so not fancy. And make sure you're content and make sure you actually connect with people a lot more on a more deeper level this week. And also share what you've learned this month. Obstacle or motivating force? Let's see. Not really much of an obstacle, but definitely a motivating force. Obstacle. Enjoy it, for goodness sakes. And the motivating force is, well, looks like somebody is going to be having a lot of indulgence. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, if you got it, flaunt it. And, just make sure you don't overstuff yourself. That sounds so bad, kid. Just, just know when enough's enough and don't live life and live it hard too much. And as well, make sure that you're motivated to actually share the bestowment of a wish that you get. Don't be all like, well, I have 9 solo cups. I'm gonna fill them up and then have a party. No, no, no. Don't have a nine. Don't have a 9 cup party foul. Don't know. I don't know why that came out the way it did. And don't overindulge in your wish that's finally being bestowed. And actually share with other people if it's possible. If your wish happens to be a love interest, finally being like, fine, I'll go out with you. Make sure it's consensual. Don't be all like, oh yeah, you can have him, her for some time. No. If it's not consensual, that's not recommended. And now the love affair and the emotions and the cheesy woozy wooey. Set of Swords. Now, if by any chance you're trying to get some intel on somebody, be it an ex, or even, there's nothing wrong with, keeping tabs on somebody who is dating a friend of yours, and you're just trying to make sure that those two are okay, but primarily just the friend. And if you notice, one sword is a lot shorter than the other. Regarding like emotions this week, just make sure that you're not really being in a way that's focusing on constantly making sure that somebody is not hurting somebody else or nobody's hurting you. As well, if you're thinking it's a good idea to try and be sneaky, I would not suggest it because more than likely you might be being watched. Or better yet, if you're currently with somebody, consider maybe, just being a little bit more aware because somebody potentially may be thinking that they can, excuse me, somebody may potentially think that, oh, that's so pretty and shiny over there. I'm going to take it. Essentially, like, take your lover. Don't let him do it. Don't let him do it. Because I've had that happen before, and well, sucks to be him. Yeah, pick up. Sucks to be the twilight that tried to take mine from me, dimwit. So just make sure that you're really looking out and paying extra attention to your emotional and your love life. Just make sure that everything is where it needs to be, and just become more aware. If you're currently with somebody, like what I just said, make sure that there's no side, onlooker that's like, I think I'm gonna take that. Don't let them do it. Fire a warning shot. Well, don't really shoot them, but don't, you know what I mean. Just give them a good back off thing to like scare them away. And also make sure you don't go behind the person's back. Even if it's an act of revenge, don't do that. Please don't. That's not suggested. And the suggested course of action for the rest of the month to handle all of this to its best endeavor. 5 of Wands. Wow. Don't be afraid to go Mortal Kombat onto some, people. And don't be afraid of conflict. If something's trying to mess with you, and if someone's trying to mess with your wish being fulfilled and your enjoyment, and if you start enjoying doing work on the astral side, if somebody tries to hinder it or cripple it, don't be afraid to, start beating them upside the head with a stick. Oh, not literally. Don't go up there and, get a bow staff or, a 2x4 and start clocking them in the back of the head. That's not suggested. Just know that you need to have the confidence in yourself to even also stand up for yourself. especially if you have to go out in a way that's a bit dark, and doing occult means, whack 'em. If you have to do it that way, nothing wrong with it. Besides, you weren't the one who was doing this. Just be more aware of it. And if someone gets higher than you, just hit the dimwit upside the head, so that way he gets back into check. Just be more aware this week and make sure you have full trust within yourself. So that was Aries. I'm gonna get a drink because my mouth is probably as dry as the Sahara Desert. So I'll be right back to the thing of water. And as for like the other zodiac signs, the same Dark Goddess and Daemon, they will not be coming out again. So essentially, everybody's going to get the same. No, not the same. Everybody's going to be getting a different one. So since Leonard got pulled, he's not going to be another option. And same thing with, how do you pronounce his name? Ainu Tepo. She's not going to be able to chosen again. That way, it's not like, oh, we have her again. That way, it gives the other ones kind of more of a chance. Okay, so I'm gonna go get some definitely not vodka real quick. I said definitely not vodka, not really vodka. Okay. I have my throat moisturizer now. No, it's water, okay? It's not throat moisturizer. Don't think like that. That's not nice. Okay. So now, Taurus. So Taurus's deck was going to be, where did it go? Let me get that out of my life. Taurus is the manga Tarot. So now let's see what comes out for Taurus. So Taurus, your Dark Goddess for the month of May, Nuba, Denial. I'm not really familiar with her. I think she's Chinese. I think. I could be wrong. I'm kind of new here when it comes to like Asian mythology, so I I believe she was part of a war, if I'm remembering correctly. I could be wrong. And after the war was over, she refused to uh, like as soon as like a war happened, that she was supposed to stop droughts. Like she was supposed to stop doing droughts to some origins areas. And instead of like her returning to, I can't remember what the Chinese heaven's called. Instead of her going back, she's just all like, I'm gonna stay here and make people, thirsty. I think. I could be wrong. Hmm. And I'm just gonna say this because this is just so coincidental. Because I have somebody dear that's a Taurus. Hmm. I love you to death, but sometimes you give me a headache. And you know what they say? Sometimes you love somebody so much, but you realize that your life would suck without them. So sometimes you don't see. And even though sometimes a lot of it is a headache, but sometimes that's love. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. No. So new ba, denial, and I happen to know this left-hand divine network. And the daemon is Duke Argus. So Nuba and Argus. I'm just gonna say what's on my mind, and I'm just gonna go with it. If there's somebody that is not really getting the how do I put this? If there's somebody not getting what needs to be given back in return, it's getting to the point where the runaway of this, like the runaway of not doing like the equal give and exchange, somebody is going to be getting to the point where that equitable give and take, like equitable exchange, it's going to get to the point where it's going to be like, okay, run away, come back here, and you need to come back home. Because Argus is actually a divine that excels in finding runaways and having them come back home. And as well, Argus teaches languages of any kind, and in fact, he loves it when you ask him, "Can you teach me a language?" He gets pretty ecstatic about it. And he's a real gentleman. But what I'm also really getting from these two, if there's, or even like the Taurus person himself can be going through this, if there's somebody who's not giving you what you are expected to get in return, maybe ask Argus to give you a hand and be like, "Hey, Argus, would you be willing to potentially help me out with something?" And if he agrees, just tell them, "Could you have a runaway come back and fulfill his or her obligation that was supposed to be done, because he's denying to do it, and he's refusing to give what's due." And to put it this way, being an oath breaker is very bad. I'm not saying to be all terrifying. It's horrible, especially like with Greek mythology. You have the Aries sisters coming after you, and those are the Furies, and that's not pretty. Don't be an oath breaker. And just because you said that you would, keep your word. Otherwise, your word and your reputation is going to go. So make sure you're giving fairly and just. That includes anything regarding the mundane, emotions, and communication. And just because you're not in a good mood for it, that's not an excuse. If you're not in a good mood, but somebody is putting up with your BS, you kind of, owe it to them. If somebody's been there with you thick and thin, and if you're getting to the point where like they're just annoying, okay, well, we'll put it point blank then. One of these days, that person that annoys you may be gone, and that person gave you a lot of security and helped you a lot because they prioritized your happiness and well-being. They made it a priority. But because you called them annoying and you didn't appreciate it now that they're gone, oh no! Now you're upset, and now you're sad, and now you have regret. Don't know what to say after that. It's like, well, you had it in front of your face. You had it, and that's what you've been wanting. But now it's gone. You had it, but you're too, ugh, leave me alone. Okay, wish granted. Don't take things for granted. Don't do it. Because sometimes once it's gone, and you cannot get it back. That's a deep point blank upside the head. And like, I literally just smacked my phone. But still, that is a harsh lesson that can easily be avoided. It's so easy to avoid, to not take something for granted. And sometimes the things that you try to have come back after they've ran away from you, they may not come back. So don't deny that something or someone is a lifeline to you. It is what it is. Because if something's giving you support, accept it, appreciate it. I mean, there's a lot of times when I made the same mistake, and I regret it. I've had some friends that I've lost contact with, and now they won't come back. It is what it is. My mistake. I'm an idiot. And just don't take advantage either, because they may not come back afterwards. Hello, Kraken! So now we look at the part for Taurus. And also, remember, these can be entertained, so if somebody's not appreciating you, Taurus, give them the harsh lesson of like, okay, if you're not appreciating me, toodaloo. Or, if there's somebody that this is being done to, that knows the Taurus, there could be potential, but still. Okay, the core of the month of May. We have sorry about that. I'm sick of it being too loud because I cannot think, or I can't really hear myself. I'm trying to read. So anyway, the spiritual core of the month of May. We have 3 of Cups. So really, most definitely, we gotta have an understanding to actually celebrate and have friendship. And communication, and actually have a lot of sweet connection. And have a lot of fun. And for the love of milkshake, don't deny having fun. Don't. Taurus is actually the sign to indulge, enjoy your senses. Enjoy it 100%. Don't deny it. Have sweet and just have fun. Celebrate. Be all woozy wooey. If you want to let it all hang out, well, it's not suggested to let it all hang out. Just saying. But if you want to have that, okay, have at it. Primarily month of May, this is the month to enjoy. Celebrate, have time with your friends, and also, heck, crack open a cold one, I guess. But just make sure you're not being too crazy. And just make sure you always are able to come back, quote unquote, home to your center with Aries. Financial and health wise, we're having a lot of mental health security being bestowed. Regarding your mental health, oh wow, we have a lot of clarity, and we're probably going to be having a lot of restoration be bestowed to your mental health and emotional health. You actually may be able to also take any matters of like the heart, if you have any heartache, heart problems. It actually might be being cured, and if you are potentially being challenged by by like anxiety or anything along those lines, you actually may be starting to take the steps to actually finally being rid of it. Even if it's through therapy, I wouldn't say in a way that's actually using like medication, because medication numbs it, and numbing an issue doesn't get rid of it. So there may be something for this month that may involve mental health and finally taking the steps to actually cure it and finally getting over it. That's a potential. That's a really the biggest one, and really the only one I'm getting for the Ace of Cups. Wow, we got a lot of. We're kind of already wet, if that makes sense. Hello, K-swap? I think that's how I say it. Communications, interactions with other people, learning a new subject, and the knowledge area. And now we have the Two of Cups. So we have 3, Ace, 2. So, Taurus. About, that connection. Communicate the real feels. Don't bloody deny your feels. Don't do it. Don't take it for granted. If there's something that wants you to have a home, metaphorically, a place of security, a place of support, a place of care, a place where you feel appreciated and loved and seen as an equal and a priority, don't waste it. Mm-hmm. And sometimes taking medication to combat mental and anxiety or any kind of emotional or mental health disorder, sometimes it actually can do more damage, because I mean, mine. He's even told me that when he gets like his shot, I don't know what it's for, but it makes him feel blank, sick, and he's like he's not himself. And he even admits it's like I don't even feel like I can do anything. I'm like I'm just here. I don't have any. I can't feel. I don't know what's going on. So most of the time, medications are sometimes potentially they can cause more harm than good. That's why the best therapy is to and allow them to talk. Let them speak. And just because just because a certain individual is acting in a way that's a bit loud and a bit not usual, that doesn't mean you put them on medication and drugs to shut them up. No. And if a doctor does that, no, you don't need that medical license. If you don't allow people to express how they feel and what's inside of them, you're part of the problem. Let them be able to have that deep connection and be vulnerable and express themselves. Don't deny them of it. Let them come back home to their security. Let them express it. But still. make sure you know of somebody that you can express yourself and be vulnerable with. If you can't be vulnerable, it can lead to those disorders. I'm just saying. But also, I'm still really getting this though. Don't deny any emotions or feelings you have for somebody. Don't BS it. Appreciate it. Because all it takes is just a simple gone. And once it's gone, don't know what I was supposed to say, but life sucks. Now you learned the hard way to appreciate something. Don't be thinking that it's always going to be there, because you never know. Appreciate it now while you got it. I learned that lesson the hard way, and I got lucky. I got lucky. Because I thought I lost something that I really appreciated, but thank God I didn't. I'll admit it. And thanks y'all for that one. Obstacle, motivating force. Now the issue though, there's a difference between, well, if that's how you feel, splendid. Tomahawk to the head. Well, maybe you should actually make like a TV show, like get tomahawked. And it actually has you throwing tomahawks at like dummies. Tonight on Tomahawked. I have some American Native blood, so now that's actually very interesting. But when people are able to hear your thoughts, now here's the thing. The bigger question is, do they hear or are they listening? Hearing and listening are different. If you hear something, you know it's there, but if you're listening, you're engaged with it. If you heard something, okay, you know it's there. But if you're listening or if you've listened, you engaged with it. Because if you can't listen, you're not engaged with it. Hearing is there, I can hear it, but I'm not listening to it because I'm not engaging in it. That's the only difference. Because if they can hear what's going on in your head, that means you're projecting out your thoughts onto the world around you. That might be the better way that I can say potentially is what's going on. But if people are listening, they're actually engaging in the projections you're putting out. So just keep that in mind. Obstacle, motivating force for Taurus. Obstacle, King of Swords. We have to, be a little bit fair and just. We have to use our logic and be fair and just. Or even motivating force. Be like the King of Swords. Be just and fair, but also firm. Because the King of Swords is somebody who is very mentally and also just in his decisions. He understands that his long, pointy thing, it can cause a lot of damage, but it can also intimidate. But it can also pretty much save somebody if it needs to be used that way. And since this King of Swords, because the way he has a smile on his face, I'm really still getting the idea of like there's somebody who's being very fair with you, like a little bit too fair with you, very understanding, and this individual is actually supporting you and is actually your motivating force for the month of May. So we have a lot of wet and windy so far. Three cards of water and 1 card of air and fire. It's very wet in here. I'm just saying. The cards, not me, okay? Regarding emotions and, the cheesy woozy-woo stuff, but, I'm not sure how this is really gonna go. Okay. Ace of Swords. What's even more interesting, Gee, wait a minute. That kind of looks like the same woman. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, emotions. Again, speak your feels. Be truthful, be honest. And don't think that you don't have to communicate. And they're all going to be there. Or if there's somebody not communicating with you, Taurus, you take your big pointy thing and then you just spear them in the tush and say, piss it. Okay. Again, sorry about that. I can't think. That in the background. So anyway, don't take for granted. Speak how you feel, and most definitely, please, Lord Lanta, don't suppress how you feel. Don't suppress it. Let it out. Say it for how it is. If you do love somebody, say it. Don't hold it in. And don't withhold it either. Don't be denial of it. And go back home to your security with this person. And even heck, if you don't even know how to communicate your emotions, again, speaking how to express yourself, that's a language. Oh, look at that. Aries can help you with that. He'll be more than delighted to help you be able to speak how you're feeling. He'll even help you how to articulate it. But that's none of my business. That's another potential he can do. Because expressing emotions is a language in itself. Even though it may not be English or a universal language, being able to express and speak you feel is technically is a language. Even also same thing with music. Just saying. Advice card or suggested course of action for the rest of the month. Card was did backflip. Death. I'm just gonna say for what's on my head. If there's any kind of shenanigans going on, if there's some kind of BS of taking advantage or taking something for granted, now's the time to stop it. If you're being played, Taurus, and even also take a look at that. You happen to see the Taurus skull on the guy's, chest. You see that? Time to stop the BS. Stop playing someone. Stop taking it for granted because this month may be the month you lose them. Don't take for granted. Don't deny. Make sure you have your security first. But sometimes, even too, you may deny that certain people may be taking you in a direction that doesn't lead you home. And now you're like with Lisa's case, she had them kick the bucket metaphorically. But specifically, ensure that nobody is being taken advantage of and being used and manipulated. And don't use people. Don't take advantage of people. Don't think that they'll be sticking around long if you do it this way. Because at the end of the day, if you have somebody that is really doing the best for you and trying, and they have a reputation and a history of doing that, don't lose them. Don't give them up. Because this might be the month where you may lose them if it's happening in this case. Or vice versa, the Taurus may be challenged to actually let go of somebody who is not taking their best interests in. But if a person's doing their best and you're not giving them recognition, please be advised this month you might lose them. Take it seriously. Don't take it for granted. And this might be the biggest warning yet. Be careful. Take stock. And just face the reality of it. If it is, and they are doing their best, give them that appreciation and be more consistent. If not, give them a good, bullhead out of the stadium. Just make sure. Just make sure you know 100% how it is. And don't deny it. Because only you know the answer to that, and I don't. Oh, that was Taurus. That's quite a long, lengthy one. And sorry about the interruptions, but still nonetheless. And now we're going over to Gemini. And Gemini's diverted to go. Gemini will be having the Witch's Tarot. I haven't used this deck in a while. And honestly, I kind of don't like how the devil's depicted in this deck. Oh, it's the shadow side. Oh, that makes it a stereotypically dark, evil card. I just don't like when decks do that. Oh, it's the shadow, it must be evil. In all due respect, but still, I just don't like that. Alrighty, I just filled out the deck. So Gemini, your dark goddess for the month of May is Aradia, also known as definitely not Roman Hecate. And then the daemon to come out alongside Aradia is Piccolus? Pickle? You mean, don't tell me that, Piccolo from Dragon Ball Z is based on this thing. Piccolus. What I'm getting. Gemini, if you have a dispute with something that's been going on for a while, make sure you're extra protected for this month. And make sure that you have a means of protecting yourself. Because potentially this month, something that has been ongoing for a long time may be resurfacing to take another swing at you. So make this incident the last of it. And have this little nasty stop messing with you. Because this whole incident is kind of been going on for a long time, possibly almost years. And now the best defense is possibly maybe taking it out once and for all. Because it's probably been long standing. And now it's getting to the point where it's getting kind of old. So be prepared that this month you might be facing something again. And this might be the best time to finally put a nail in that coffin and, seal it shut with cement and let it be gone for good. That's primarily what I'm really getting from those two. Make sure you have means of protecting yourself because this ongoing long thing, it needs to come to a close once and for all. Enough's enough. And how funny. Like how I was saying why I don't like this deck that much because of that. And this is why I really don't have a lot of fun with this deck. Oh, it's the shadow side. It's the devil. God forbid. God forbid we have live life and live it hard and also have something being the devil's advocate. God forbid. At least it cares. That's none of my business. So anyway, let's get on with this. I will say, I was actually kind of intrigued when they changed the Judgment card to Karma, in my opinion. Again, that's just my opinion. And I don't like how the Magician in this deck looks like, as above, so below, as within, so without. Sorry. I'm sorry. It's satire, okay? Like you haven't seen satire before, God forbid. And more funnier, Wise Man once said, "Oh, it's offensive? Good, I'll keep doing it." No. Again, keep in mind, use your logical thinking. It's meant to be satire and it's meant to make you laugh. And heck, if you know how satire works, if somebody did satire to you and if it was funny, you'd appreciate it. The core of this situation for the month of May, Gemini. Okay, I can't go any more than that. So, Gemini, you're going to be having the Six of Wands be the centerpiece of all this. Kinkerdoodle. Kinkerdoodle. So, I can definitely say that this ongoing thing, you're going to have victory in it. You're going to win. There's finally going to be a celebration of this victory, of this incident that has been a pain in the tushy. And even you may even be all like, oh God, finally I got this wreath. Oh God. So you're most definitely gonna finally be able to get through this endeavor that has been all like, I'm gonna go take a stab at him again. I'm gonna be like an ankle biter. Well, not anymore. Six of Wands as your focus of the month of May. Yeah, there's going to be some victories going on. And it was even more funny, just because of how this was just laid out right now. You can actually see how you have a radio. Definitely not Piccolo. And then the Six of Wands. And if you take a notice, I'm going to try and do this. They have the little guy surrounded. And he's like, ow, crap. Yeah, so he's surrounded. So he's met his match. So this situation has met its match. 3D, mundane, health-wise, we have a transformation. So if you're having a illness or anything regarding health, it's going to kick the bucket. Like say if you have like a long-term condition, toodaloo, jackass, it's going to go. It's going to kick a bucket. It's going to be gone for good. And also, if you're wanting to have like employment, if you're wanting the employment, or you actually want to have a means of actually having an income source coming in, and if you don't, well, heidi ho, looks like here comes the dwarfs coming in with, you know, an income source and a gold mine, metaphorically. You might have a new income source come in. You actually may as well claim an investment that has reached its maturity point. So like say if you have a stock or savings bonds, now's the time to have the bond kick the bucket and then take the value of it. It's matured enough, take it. Take bond. James Bond. What? But I mean, most definitely health-wise, if there's a condition that's been giving you a pain in the tush, finally it's gonna have enough of it and it's gonna go away and scram. Regarding the mental intelligence, learning a new subject, just communicating with other people. Hong Kong Phooey, we have a chariot. Oh, that's Wait a minute. Oh, I see. How clever. So, I just had to point this out. The horse in this card is black. The horse in this card is white. The horses in this card are both dark and light. Huh. Coincidence? I don't think so. So for the entirety of something regarding maybe even your health and your victory, you're actually maybe expending substantially regarding your wisdom and ways of handling situations. You actually may be going face first more into times where there's opposition. You'll be a lot more inspired, and you may be more inclined to take more protective measures in defending and sticking up for people. If this involved a family dispute, well, now that you know that you most definitely are going to put a stop to this endeavor, and even if it's within the family home structure, once this little thing gets a boot to the tush, you'll actually come to realize, oh, splendid. Not only did that horse that used to belong to death, give me a hand with obtaining this victory, now that I know I can just, run this little thing over like how Grandma got hit by that reindeer last year, now that I know I can do that, okay, I'm not threatened at all. So now then there's your new defense with the radio. Having the confidence to have something that is like a little nasty troll, knowing that you can just squish it, well, splendid. Just keep, no, that sounds a little too overkill, but fine. But hey, sometimes you gotta curb something, especially like a little nasty like this. A squishy. Sometimes you gotta flatten it like a, flapjack. Obstacle, motivating force. Obstacle and the motivating force. Obstacle. How? Now you tell me that does not look like Trump. You tell me that does not look like him. How can you say that face does not look like him? Tell me if I'm wrong. Does that not look like him? I can't see it. I'm sorry. Obstacle. Know that you have potential and don't waste it. Because if you waste your potential and the stuff, well, not really stuff, if you waste the potential that you have for this month, you may not get another opportunity to take it back. There it is. Let's see if I can grab it. Okay, here we go. Two more. Is that better? But of course, younger, but still. I'm sorry, I just can't see that. Sorry. But the motivating force. Rude. The card just like flipped out of my hands and just. But essentially, the motivating force is that you have immense potential this month to put an end to this. Does anybody want to get him some cheese doodles? But anyway, this month, make sure you use everything to its fullest potential to put an end to. Definitely wish you could be Piccolus in this case. Because you have the means and the potential to have it come through. Now regarding the cheesy woozy woo aspect of life, you know what I'm trying to say. It's beginning to look a lot like, oh god, romance. I said romance, not bromance. Oh, how cheesy, the Knight of Cups. Oh, look at, well, that's weird. Now there's three. That's bad. If there's something that's causing you trouble is trying to give you a peace offering, don't take it. Don't take it. Because now look, you have the Six of Wands guy facing the Knight of Cups guy, so it's like, I'm sorry? I'm sick of your shit, kid. It's wine. No. But anyway, it's just how the spread ended up. With emotions, this week you actually might be more willing to offer your woozy woo side to someone, like romance side, not like oh, yeah, you get what I mean. Someone actually might be very more like a more alluring and a little bit more twinky, more teenage in their emotions, not twinky in emotions. No, not twinky emotions. That doesn't make sense, kid. Maybe soft on the outside, but more, no. Stop it. If you're looking for emotional connection this month, you can get it. Just make sure that somebody is not having a hidden motive behind it. If you're already with somebody, well, partner figure may be a little bit more inclined to, be a little bit more romantic and kind of like how it was in day, like how it first began, and try to be more romanticized. They may even also use more romantic words in their communication this month. And then the suggested course of action for the remainder of this month. Now we have the King of Cups. Okay. So, if you're a sausage hunter like me, well, you can most definitely, get lucky. Just make sure you're in check of your feelings. And make sure that something that's been ongoing, that's a hindrance, really doesn't take away from this sweet connection that you might be getting this month, and protect and defend it. And enjoy your victory of it. And go face first into him? Okay. Go face first. Just don't poke yourself in the eye with it. And you also have the means to actually kind of better influence it and support it this month with Magician. Just primarily though, keep your emotions in check too. And also consider maybe writing more poetry to your divinities if you have any. Because they also might be helping defend you against this little twathead. But most definitely you'll be able to have a transformation in your physical, mundane 3D world. You'll be able to think and process things more clearly. And since the Magician, in the way the spread lays out, he's above him is the Six of Wands, and below him is the King of Cups. So having emotional maturity. In order to get victory this month, you have to have the motivation to keep your emotions in check and be mature about your emotions, but also be able to love regardless no matter what. And in order for, again, I'm going to have to say it again because I'm getting somebody to say it again. To get victory as above, you have to understand that at the end of the day, you have to use everything to its fullest potential and not waste it. So, and the only way to get this victory, have full, mature emotions with this. Keep your emotions in check. Okay, at least that's what I got for Gemini. So now we're going to go to the last one, Cancer. And now they're getting loud already. Oh well, whatever. Kind of over it anyway. So anyway, now. So now. Cancer. Sign of the Divine Mama. That one. Where's my Damon? Brownies, where'd you take my Damon deck? Oh, thank you. And the deck going to be used for Cancer is going to be this one. Yep, begin the nasty deck, Cancer. So, Dark Goddess for Cancer for the month of May. Yay! Oh, that was scary. Oh, yay. Just throw me in the bay. And don't you dare say nay. Fine, I'm gonna go lay. I've gone disarray. I don't even know why I was just rhyming like that for whatever reason. So, Cancer, Dark Goddess for the month of May. Time Mat. Control. Okay. So, Time Mat alongside. Okie doke. Well, that's kind of serious. Tiamat and Lucifer himself. That kind of seems like a big one. Okay. Make sure you have full control of your enjoyment. And make sure that you are using your enjoyment to inspire others and keep control of yourself. And don't think that just because you can bestow so much greatness to somebody else, don't think you can use it as a means to control somebody, because that's just vile. If you can provide someone with a gift and better their life, don't use that as a manipulation tactic. Or if somebody's doing that to you, don't let that happen to you. Because that's not enjoyment. Using something that somebody wants and it's going to bring them joy as a means to control them, that's not enjoyment. That's kind of sadistic. So make sure nobody's doing that to you. And please don't do that to somebody else. Now, again, based on the circumstance, if something has to be done for somebody's best, that's different. But doing it in a way that's malefic to actually have them just do what you want them to do, not the point. Don't do it that way. If you have to pretty much withhold something from someone because it's hindering you, then that's different. But using it as a manipulation tactic is a no-no. So that's really the main only message I got. Okay, we're going to be screaming at the top of our lungs, so I'm going to just do this because I've had enough of it. Oh. Well, now at least you can hear me at least. So anyway. No, this is much better. So anyway. The core of the month of May for Cancer. Our core for Cancer for May is Swords again. Don't be restricting and detaining someone. Yeah, because this thing has a nice little mic attached to it. I won't be distracted. In this case, just make sure you're not being tied down to something and being forced and detained or restricted from anything that is supposed to be supporting you, but it's not. And if something is saying this is really for your own good, but really it's doing harm for you, and there's really no logical good side to it, no, don't let that happen to you. Even if you get restricted, just go in a way that makes you feel at peace about it until it, releases and backs off a bit. Then that's when you make the break for it and just do what you have to do to get yourself in a position where you can express yourself freely. But for this way, make sure you're not being restricted. When it comes to the 3D, the mundane, everyday, health, financial, security, we have the Star. So, looks like a wish is going to be bestowed, and specifically, it actually might involve a wish that was invested alongside somebody else. Which also, funny enough, hmm. Yes, I saw that. So maybe a wish is finally coming into being, or maybe, heck, might be being bestowed something, a pleasure that you've been longing for so long. Finally, maybe it's being bestowed to you after so many long times of investment, maybe. I hope you're taking 90%, Lisa. 90%. No more, no less. Because, at least in my opinion, it's better to leave just like a little bit to be all like, well, I can't believe like almost all my wealth is gone. I only have this much left. Than nothing. Because nothing is just like, it cleans them out, but it pretty much like pushes them to the extreme. This way it's like, so that way they could be more prone to spending it. That's just evil, Brendan. Why are you saying stuff like that? Sucks to be him. And also, since the star card is also a card of restoration, and specifically how in the night sky, that's where the dark is. And whenever there's the dark, it's a void that gives you whatever you want, but you have to make sure you're saying what you want towards it as you want it, because it'll give you it exactly what you say that's in there. That's a bit of a cryptic message from Nyx, so keep that in mind. Communications, interactions with other people. Hermit. So most definitely, you may be more internal, and you're primarily only focusing on the guiding light that's in front of you. You're not really having anything else distract you, and you're actually having control of self, and you're actually putting it this way. You're actually allowing your guiding the guide to actually guide you in the direction where you need to go, because the lantern, the light, enlightenment, the light bearer, the one who bestows enlightenment. Okay, honey, there's your enlightenment. Now you can see where to go. Go get him, Timmy. Metaphorically. So, subject wise, you actually might be becoming more excelled in a form, in like a specific field, and you actually will also get more wisdom this month regarding the situation to get out of this bind. Obstacle or motivating force? Hong Kong Fooey again. Well, we have a lot of movement in these reads. 2/8, okay. Obstacle. Don't hold yourself back. Don't think that you can't go face first into stuff, because you most definitely can. And I'm just going with it. You don't be afraid. You may speak soft, but you do carry a lot of big sticks. Huge sticks. Motivating force. This will move very quickly, and there'll be a lot of great haste with this endeavor in May. Expected to be moving along substantially quickly. And even Divinity will be taking some, shots in there. If you work with Artemis or Apollo or any kind of divine that uses a bow, they'll actually be of substantial help this month for you. Regardless of the yielding culture, there'll be a lot of help to you this month. Emotions, the love department. It just so happens to be your card too, the Chariot. And even the Sphinxes are like, I see nothing, and I'm not saying a word. He's like, I'm not saying a word. I see nothing. Oh Lord Jesus. But anyway, so we're going to the emotions department. Looks like somebody's going to be making use of possibly the Wish on the 3D and really enjoying it and having a deep connection with it. As well, there's going to be a bestowment of conveniency and security with somebody. You actually might have a connection that, even though, yes, it looks a little bit like, whoa, honey bear, still, you'll actually be in a state of security because most of the time when you're having this, you have to be secure. If you're not secure, usually that's not going to happen. If you're currently alongside with somebody, this is a great month to reconnect on that level and get more closer to that person and to actually maintain the highest state of something and keep it secure. And not in a controlling way, but just to control all the joys and happiness that can come from having that deep connection as a potential. And if you also, for gigglies, you may even also connect to a divine this month that you have a really intense connection with. Last but certainly not least, the spiritual suggestion or the suggested courses of action for the remainder of this month. We have the Seven of Cups. And usually the Seven of Cups is like, oh Lord, Lanta, I have no idea how I'm going to do this. But in this case, in how this is depicted, I'm getting this. Most definitely consider looking at it this way. You definitely have within you the means to handle anything that gets thrown to you. No ifs, ands, buts, or tushes about it. You have the enlightened bearer helping you through this, and he's actually might be a really good support force in all this to keep control of everything. Just know, if you're stuck in a position where you can't do anything, mentally and spiritually you can. You have the security and the mundane everyday to make this wish come into being. You have the intelligence, you have the willpower, and you have the connection to handle this. So you most definitely can take this on, no problem. At least that's what I get, Cancer. And yeah, I'm already exhausted, but still. So I'm going to take a break, and I may be on later to have tonight's open floor. We'll see. But other than that, I'll just talk to you guys then.